Our first daily headline is, had his fill. All New York sports fans stunned to wake up this morning. Phil Jackson was out. Just last week, he was talking about the long-term culture he was building. So what happened, what went wrong, and where do we go from here? Our Knicks insider, Steph Bondi, is with the Knicks Summer League in Orlando, joins us live from Space Mountain, or actually Golf Channel in the Sunshine State after a very busy day. Steph, we appreciate the time. How on earth did James Dolan go from telling everybody to ask Phil to him asking Phil to leave?
You know, that's a good question. I don't think it was one particular thing. It was a culmination of a lot of things. And, you know, let's face it, Phil Jackson's tenure has been a disaster. But whatever changed Dolan's mind, I mean, it happened very rapidly. It was only 5 days ago that Phil Jackson was in charge of the draft. He was drafting his guy to fit into the triangle, Frank Ntilikina. And now this news. But here's the bottom line. You know, when you're an executive in this league, you can't take on the star players. And that's really what did him in. I mean, you can't can't try to trade your unicorn and Kristaps Porzingis. You can't take on Carmelo Anthony the way you did. You're going to lose that battle 10 times out of 10. And despite what James Dolan was saying throughout the last couple years, I trust in Phil, and I'm going to let him, lose as many games as he wants. I mean, you can't do that with the star players, and that's what did him in.
Steph, from the outside, the timing seems horrible for this. Just had the draft. He took a guy partially, at least, because of his skill set and how it would fit into the triangle offense, which they'll now likely, I guess, be ditching. And free agency is coming up in a couple of days. That's what it looks like from the outside. To insiders and people who know the league as you do, is the timing just as awful as I've just described it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's no wrong time to make the right decision. This was some Dolan had to do, but yeah, you're right. I mean, if you're going to do this, why not do it before the draft? Or, better yet, why not do it before you give him the 2-year extension? And now Dolan has to eat $24 million that he's going to pay Phil Jackson to basically just sit in his lake house in Montana. But yeah, I mean, you have to understand what Phil was shaping the Knicks as. It was all about the triangle. I mean, he was he was giving these guys triangle handbooks. He was bringing them in for triangle lessons. And now what? Now that he's gone, the triangle's probably gone, and the team is in disarray. If you're a free agent, why would you ever want to sign with the New York Knicks right now? So yeah, I mean, the timing is poor. It could have been handled a lot better, but a lot of things could be handled a lot better when it comes to the Knicks.
Steve Mills takes over the day-to-day operations for the moment, but they are looking outside the organization. All the reports today, Masai Ujiri from Toronto looks to be the guy. Is that what you're hearing? And again, it would cost them some form of compensation. So take us through how this would all go if indeed Ujiri is the guy.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm hearing as well. Masai Ujiri, who has been coveted by Dolan for a long time. Remember that Masai Ujiri was the guy who traded Carmelo Anthony from Denver to the Knicks, and Dolan was very impressed with the way Ujiri handled himself and the haul that Ujiri was able to get back for Carmelo Anthony. And then when he went to Toronto, he traded Andrea Bargnani to the Knicks and actually got some decent compensation, which is a miracle from the Knicks, but at the same time not exactly coming from the Knicks. And the deal with Masai is that he just signed a long-term deal with Toronto. He's got a lot of money coming to him. So if the Knicks wanted him, they would have to give up probably draft picks, depending on what Toronto wants to do, either first or second round draft picks to get Masai, into the fold. So, we'll see what happens with that. I know that, like I said, Dolan loves him. Dolan has wanted him for a long time. And, he's always willing to pay the price when he targets his man.
What does today's news mean for the futures of Carmelo Anthony and Jeff Hornacek in your mind? They both here next year?
I think so. Well, let's start with Hornacek. I think he's going to be given his real shot now. Before he had to follow Phil Jackson's orders and run the triangle. And remember, when he was in Phoenix, he was a lot more successful using a much different type of offense with the run and gun. So I think now he's going to be able to get his shot. We'll see how that goes. I don't think the Knicks are going to be a very good team this season, but he's going to get his shot. And Carmelo Anthony's more of a fluid situation because the bottom line is he doesn't fit with what the Knicks are trying to do right now. And the Knicks don't want to buy him out. In fact, they're dead set against it. Even though Phil Jackson's gone, it doesn't matter. They don't want to pay $54 million just to let him leave. So if they can find a suitable trade partner and Carmelo Anthony approves that trade, there's been chatter lately about the Houston Rockets, then I could still see that happening. But right now, I expect Carmelo to be back, and certainly Jeff Hornacek.
Steph, we know it's been a very busy day for you. Thank you so much for making some time and getting yourself in the TV studio at the Golf Channel. We look forward to speaking to you soon.
All right, thank you.
All right, our Knicks insider, Daily News Knicks beat writer, Steph Bondi from Orlando. Let's bring it in-house. Let you guys have your say at this. What'd you make of today's news?
Well, it's great if you're a Knicks fan. I mean, honestly, that's really what it comes down to for me, is that James Dolan made the right decision. Phil Jackson had to go, and I don't know exactly where they're going to go from here. It doesn't rid themselves of the dysfunction moving forward or give me any more confidence that James Dolan is going to do the right things moving forward. I do know this. Phil Jackson did not work. It was not working. It was 80 and 166 over the last 3 years. That is the Knicks' combined record. He was completely lost as an executive. He had no idea how to communicate to agents and players. It was the triangle offense. The timing is off, but Phil needed to go, and ultimately, and we'll figure out exactly what led ultimately to James Dolan basically telling Phil Jackson that he's out the door, but ultimately he made the right call.